Condition, grade. As with all coins, the condition or grade of a 1965 Washington quarter plays a crucial role in determining its value. Coins are typically graded on a scale from poor, P1, to perfect uncirculated, MS70. The better the condition of the coin, the higher its value. The most common grades used by collectors are good, G, for a heavily worn coin with major design details visible but flattened. Very fine, VF, 30, a moderately worn coin with most design details still visible. Extremely fine, EF, 45, a lightly worn coin with sharp design details. About uncirculated, -50 Australian dollars a coin with only minor wear on the highest points. Mint state, MS60 to MS70, a coin that has never been in circulation and shows no signs of wear. MS70 is a perfect coin with full luster and no flaws. 1965 Washington quarters in lower grades, good to extremely fine, are typically worth their face value of 25 cents. However, coins in higher grades, particularly in mint state, MS, condition, can be worth significantly more. MS65 and MS66 examples of the 1965 quarter can command prices of $50 to $200 or more, depending on market conditions. Key varieties and errors. As discussed earlier, key varieties and errors can greatly enhance the value of a 1965 Washington quarter. The 1965 silver quarter, in particular, is one of the most valuable varieties, with prices ranging from several thousand to tens of thousands of dollars, depending on the coin's condition. Other errors, such as clipped planchets, double dies, and off-center strikes, can also add significant value, particularly if they are dramatic and well-preserved. Demand among collectors. The demand for a specific coin can fluctuate over time, influenced by trends in the collecting community, economic factors, and the availability of similar coins. While the 1965 Washington quarter is a common coin in circulation, certain varieties and high-grade examples are highly sought after by collectors, which drives up their value. The 1965 silver quarter, for example, has a strong following among error coin collectors, and its rarity ensures that demand remains high. Similarly, other errors and high-grade mint state examples of the 1965 quarter are consistently in demand among Washington quarter collectors. Conclusion: the value and legacy of the 1965 Washington quarter. The 1965 Washington quarter holds a unique place in the history of U.S. coinage. As the first year of the copper-nickel-clad quarters, it represents a turning point in the U.S. Mint's efforts to adapt to changing economic conditions and the rising cost of precious metals. While most 1965 quarters remain common and circulate at face value, rare varieties such as the 1965 silver quarter and various minting errors can command significant premiums in the collector's market. The design and composition of the 1965 Washington quarter. The design of the 1965 Washington quarter remained consistent with the earlier quarters, featuring the familiar image of George Washington on the obverse. The reverse, as usual, depicted a bald eagle with wings spread, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches below. Composition. The most significant change in the 1965 quarter was its composition. As mentioned earlier, this was the first year that the U.S. Mint stopped using silver for circulating quarters and switched to the copper-nickel-clad composition. The breakdown of the composition is as follows. This composition change significantly impacted the weight and appearance of the quarter. The coin now weighed 5.67 grams, slightly less than the 6.25 grams of the earlier 90% silver quarters. The introduction of this new composition also resulted in a different ring sound when the coin was dropped, which some collectors and users noticed. Minting and distribution. The 1965 quarter was minted in large quantities, with production taking place at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. However, quarters minted in 1965 do not have a mint mark. This was a deliberate decision made by the U.S. Mint to discourage coin hoarding, which had been rampant during the years leading up to the transition away from silver coinage. The absence of a mint mark meant that quarters produced in Philadelphia and Denver were indistinguishable from one another, adding to the uniformity of the coins in circulation. As a result, there is no distinction between quarters produced at different mints in 1965. Varieties of the 1965 Washington quarter. Though the 1965 Washington quarter was minted in large numbers, certain varieties and errors have become of particular interest to collectors. These varieties can influence the coin's value significantly. The 1965 silver quarter, perhaps the most famous variety of the 1965 Washington quarter, is the rare 1965 silver quarter. A small number of 1,965 quarters were mistakenly struck on leftover silver planchets from 1964, rather than the new copper-nickel-clad planchets. These silver quarters are extremely rare and highly sought after by collectors. The 1965 silver quarter is easily distinguishable by its weight, 6.25 grams, compared to 5.67 grams for the clad version, and the distinct sound it makes when dropped, similar to earlier silver quarters. Additionally, the edge of a silver quarter will not show the copper core that is visible on clad quarters. This error occurred because, during the transition period from silver to clad coinage, the mint inadvertently used some silver planchets from 1964 to strike 1965 dated quarters. These coins were released into circulation and have since become one of the most valuable errors of the Washington Quarter series. Other notable errors: in addition to the 1965 silver quarter, there are other notable errors and varieties that can enhance the value of a 1965 Washington quarter. Clipped planchets. A clipped planchet occurs when the metal strip used to make the coin blanks overlaps during the cutting process, resulting in a coin with a curved clip missing from the edge. Clipped planchets are relatively rare and can increase the coin's value, especially if the clip is pronounced. Double dies. A double die error occurs when a coin is struck twice with a misalignment between the two strikes, resulting in a noticeable doubling of the design elements. Double die errors are highly collectible, though there are no widely recognized double die varieties for the 1965 quarter. However, careful examination of any unusual features on the coin can potentially reveal a previously undiscovered variety. Off-center strikes. An off-center strike occurs when a coin is not properly centered in the press, resulting in a coin that is struck partially off the blank planchet. Off-center strikes can vary in degree, with some being only slightly misaligned and others showing a significant portion of the design missing. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the error. Wrong planchet errors. In rare cases, a coin can be struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination. For example, a 1965 quarter might be struck on a dime planchet, resulting in a smaller and lighter coin with the design elements of both denominations visible. These errors are highly collectible due to their rarity. Factors influencing the value of the 1965 Washington quarter. The value of a 1965 Washington quarter depends on several factors, including its condition, any unique varieties or errors, and the demand for the coin among collectors. Below, we explore these factors in more detail. As discussed earlier, key varieties and errors can greatly enhance the value of a 1965 Washington quarter. The 1965 silver quarter, in particular, is one of the most valuable varieties, with prices ranging from several thousand to tens of thousands of dollars, depending on the coin's condition. Other errors, such as clipped planchets, double dies, and off-center strikes, can also add significant value, particularly if they are dramatic and well-preserved. The 1965 Washington quarter is an important coin in U.S. numismatics, primarily because it marked a significant change in the composition of quarters in the United States. To understand its value and history, one must delve into various aspects such as the historical context, minting process, specific varieties, errors, and how the coin has been valued over time by collectors. In this detailed exploration, we will cover the background of the 1965 Washington quarter, its design, composition, varieties, key errors, and factors influencing its value today. Historical background. The Washington quarter was introduced in 1932, commemorating the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States.